Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the open house presentation for the upper school. My name is Mary Clancy. I'm the associate head of school here and have been part of the high school team since 2007, and it is a really special program. So I'll walk you through some of the key components of our curriculum and our mission and what we're all about, and then I invite you to sign up for a tour if what you hear during this presentation sounds interesting and it sounds like it might be a good fit for your child. Okay, a little overview about Cooke. We do have a kindergarten through age 21 program. So we have a kindergarten through 8th grade grammar school, and then a 9th through 12th grade high school, which we'll be focusing on here today. So many students who finish our 12th grade go on to our transitions program, which is geared just for young adults ages 18 through 21. And then we also partner with a number of schools throughout the city through our institute, providing special education consultation, professional development around the city. Our mission is something that we live and breathe here every single day. You will see it come to life in a number of different ways if your child attends here, but we do envision a world where all people with disabilities, regardless of diagnosis, have the skills and knowledge and connections to be included as valuable members of their communities and have a plan to live independent and purposeful lives. You'll hear the word independence come up a lot, and it is something we are thinking about, whether it's our reading lesson or a life skills lesson or an internship. And we really foster that through all that we do. We do have a commitment to diversity in diagnosis. We're a school with many different diagnoses. I'll talk about that in a minute. But diverse learning profiles and cultural backgrounds, all 5 boroughs. We have a tuition support model, so we can support families through the reimbursement process if you are seeking reimbursement and have not found a good fit for your child elsewhere, as well as dedicated CSE support. So if you need someone to go with you to those IEP meetings, we are here, and we have someone on staff whose only job it is to support that process. So she becomes an expert in the current model and advocacy on your behalf. One thing that I should like to start with, if you haven't been here, I hope you come in for a tour. We have a brand new state-of-the-art beautiful facility. We our faculty walk through these halls and can't believe this is where we get to work. This is a space designed just for our kids, and we are really lucky to have it. So we have classrooms here at Madison Avenue that serve kindergarten through 12th grade students. There's flexible seating, integrated technology, breakout rooms for learning, even just in the classrooms. We have a full-size gym and cafeteria, rooftop playgrounds, 3 OT/PT sensory gyms, simulated apartment labs. Everything's ADA accessible. There's spaces for everything, yoga and movement and creative arts. I'll go through a couple pictures here, but I do invite you to see it for yourself. Here's our lobby where we are greeting families and kids every morning. We have spaces, like I mentioned, creative art. So this is our music room set up for a presentation. We might have family workshops here, but also I was just there earlier this morning, and it's full of drums and djembe drums and shakers. So it's also soundproof, so you can't hear that from the outside, which is pretty neat. Here's our full-size gymnasium. All of our classes, regardless of homeroom, have gym at least twice a week, and taught by an adaptive PE teacher and an assistant teacher. They also go outside to the roof when it's nice to take advantage of that. Here's some simple classrooms. I mentioned flexible seating. With COVID right now, those seats are 6 feet apart, but hopefully we'll get back to small groups instruction soon enough. And here's our upper school rooftop playground. So kids have lunch out there. They have recess every day, as well as gym classes. We also had prom there last May, which was really exciting. Prom under the stars, pretty neat. So those are our spaces. Framing what we do, and you'll see that come to life here, is first, this is high school, and we want to start with a typical high school experience. That is so important to adolescents for their development. And we started the high school so that there was a high school for people with disabilities. So all of the things, I'm sure if you're thinking of your own high school experience, you're not necessarily thinking of biology class. Maybe you're a biologist, I don't know. But Maybe you're thinking about sports teams or clubs that you were able to join or your friendships. And those are part of our high school program, and it's built into how we design our structure and structure our program. So here's some sports teams that we have. We still have them now, even with COVID, a little bit different. We are out in the community all the time. I'll talk about offsite education. And that is not just to be outside or change the environment, but we're applying skills that they're learning in the classroom into authentic settings, as well as taking advantage of the multitude of resources that New York City has to offer. So theater shows, museums, but also just grocery stores and travel training on the subway, and really making sure our students know how to navigate New York City. We have prom, I was mentioning. Sometimes it's on a boat, although last year we did it on the roof, but the kids dress up and they have dates. It's one of our highlights of the year for sure. We do have a student council that organizes spirit days and different events and fundraisers throughout the year. They're always petitioning for something. I get letters from student council every so often. As well as my favorite event is our annual school musical. So that is actually facilitated by our drama therapist and our music teacher. Speech therapists are often involved, in OTs, making sure that everyone can be successful on the stage. Anyone who wants to be in the play is allowed to be in the play and invited to be in the play and celebrated, and everyone gets a part. It's a really special event. In terms of who we serve, there's not one diagnosis. I was mentioning that we have a diverse student population. We like to say there's magic in the mix. About a third of our students do have an ASD diagnosis, and the rest range between intellectual disability or speech and language impairment or other diagnoses that require specific interventions and modifications to the curriculum. The common thread, we certainly look at the paperwork that you'll submit, but all of our students need modifications in their academic programming. They need a focus or some sort of a direct instruction in adaptive skills, life skills, travel training, preparing meals, organizing your materials. There's some social emotional support, so there may be some need for supported social skill development or regulation needs, as well as some occupational therapy needs, some sensory motor support, whether it's gross motor or fine motor skills, but also just sensory regulation. So that's a common profile of a student. There might be more emphasis on speech and language needs for some students than others, but there is generally a need for those services in their school day. Since we don't serve one profile of kids, we don't have one single methodology. We do have individualized programming for all of our students. Our high school has 116 students right now, and there are 12 different options of cohorts and programs. So we're looking for profiles that make sense to teach together. Each cohort has between 10 and 12 students, so that we can really target those developmental skills and find a group that makes sense to teach together. We do offer 12-month services as well. So if your child has a 12-month IEP, we have a 6-week summer program that continues all of the instruction that happens in the school year. All of what we do is multisensory, it's in small groups, it's targeted to developmentally appropriate levels. We want to honor the high school experience, but also match it to work that they can do and feel successful in those appropriate ranges for growth. Starting in the high school, we're really starting to think about this long game here, though. What is an appropriate skill for age 20, age 22, age 24? We want to maximize this opportunity for independence and constantly be integrating community generalization. So if your child is working on communication with speech therapy, expressive language, the speech therapist is going to go out to a grocery store and practice communicating with someone working at the grocery store. So it's all authentic experiences. I was mentioning, you've heard me talk a little bit about this academic programming, related service programming, and transition planning. I'm going to talk about all three of these specifically. Those are really the three branches of our upper school program. Some students need more emphasis and more intervention in academics than related services, and we're finding the right balance so that we hit all three of those points. Academic instruction is, we're high school, so we're a school, so we have 4 content areas every day: ELA, social studies, math, and science. Again, groups are homeroom cohort groups are between 10 and 12 students, but daily instruction happens in even smaller groups. We do have head teachers and assistant teachers in all of the classes, in addition to paraprofessionals if needed, so that the direct instruction can happen in groups of between 3 and 4 generally. And we are looking to individualize the goals within those groups, and we report on progress twice a year in a pretty lengthy progress report that you'll receive in January and in June. Technology instruction in integration is also part of our academic programming. We have a one-to-one device program. So all students have access to a MacBook every single period of the day if needed. That doesn't mean they're on the computer all day, but it's integrated when it's appropriate. So it might be a research project. It might be used as an assistive tech tool if handwriting is difficult and tech is a more efficient, typing is a more efficient way to provide written communication. But there's also smart boards and tech classes. So 9th and 10th graders take a class in our tech lab, learning how to use email appropriately, typing classes. We are a Google school, so they go through a G Suite curriculum to use all of the tools available to them. And then in the upperclassmen, tech is co-taught by a content area teacher and our tech teacher, so we can integrate tech into project-based learning. That's academics. Related services take a form of speech, OT, PT, and counseling. We also have creative arts therapists. I'll talk about them in a second. All of our students generally receive speech, OT, and counseling in some shape or form, and you will have a home team of those clinicians that are responsible for your child's growth and clinical progress throughout the whole day. So we have what's called an adaptive skills model. Your child will have adaptive skills in their schedule, sometimes 12 periods a week, sometimes only 5 if they need less integration of related services. But that team will also work with your child in morning and afternoon advisory, so the beginning and end of the day, as well as dedicated periods throughout the work to provide their clinical services. So our related services are built into the day. That's so that we can minimize pullouts and that there's less disruption to the schedule. And the clinicians are following an adaptive skills model and an adaptive skills curriculum. So they're going through units of organization, health and hygiene, wardrobe management, leisure planning, very popular for the high school age group, so that they're working on those skills in authentic units that are really meaningful to ages 14 through 18. We're not going to be doing one-on-one pull out of articulation for a 17-year-old. We're going to be doing something in class where they're practicing those direct goals in social settings that are meaningful and promote generalization. We also, for adaptive skills, we have a simulated apartment lab. We've got 4 kitchen stations here. We're so fortunate. So in the food preparation and health and nutrition units, they're actually able to make meals and use the spaces to develop independence and life skills. Social emotional functioning is primarily delivered through the counseling, but also through consultation with the teachers, of course. We have weekly student assemblies. So the whole school comes together right now on Zoom, but we hope we can gather together in one space soon to share what we know, connect with other groups. There's direct social skills classes, of course, and advisory classes, and a fantastic creative arts program. So we have an art therapist, a drama therapist, and a music therapist. So all students have access to creative arts, which provides such a unique form of therapeutic intervention and opportunities to process different events, to learn about emotional regulation through the creative arts. Transition is our third pillar. So we have academics, related services, and transition. I know if you are maybe an 8th grade family, this is not a word you want to think about yet, but we're going to force you to think about it and hold your hand through everything to make sure that when your child is ready to leave school services, there's a very careful plan that feels good for everybody. Transition takes the place of takes form in a couple different ways here. So we have our curriculum, that's our sort of student-facing transition work. There's classes built into the schedule starting in grade 9 that are about transition-related topics. Travel training is very popular. Those kids want to get off that yellow school bus, and we can support them through that if that's appropriate. Vocational skills or internship seminars, and adaptive technology integrated into the curriculum. That's sort of where our students are thinking about it. Another way they're thinking about it is through their internships. We do have internships in grades 9 through 12. Starting in grade 9, we're introducing students to the idea that adults go out into the world and participate in the community in work situations that feel a little bit different than school. We are thinking about the soft skills that could generalize to any type of vocational setting. You have to greet your supervisor in a way that is different than greeting your friend. There's different timesheets or paperwork that you might need to fill out. Those are our 9th and 10th grade internships. 11th and 12th grade internships, you'll work with our internship chair of our vocational services department to complete an internship vocational interest survey. And we have over 40 partners around New York City that work with our students. Our students go offsite, one-on-one with one of our job coaches to these internships. So we call them community inclusion assistants. You would be assigned a CIA, and the 11th and 12th grade years internships are 20 hours for the year. So usually about a 10-week internship for 2 hours a day. And we're exploring real vocational settings. So students pick an internship. Animal care is one of our popular internships, although students often learn that that's cleaning up after animals and trying to get out of it, but we make them follow through. Retail settings, culinary settings, maintenance, clerical, office settings, we run the gamut and try and make sure that by the end of our transitions program, students have a wide range of experiences for their resume. 11th to 12th grade internships are paid. So back at school in the math classes, they're opening bank accounts, practicing their paychecks. What are taxes? A lot of them are very surprised that first check that it's not as much as they thought it would be, and making sure that they have the financial literacy skills to do something with their money. Family support and one-on-one planning is also central to our transition plan, and that's for you. We have monthly family support workshops to walk you through all of the different acronyms that are so confusing and don't need to be, but they are. But we'll talk to you about OPWD eligibility and self-direction, guardianship, SSI versus SSDI. We have a social worker that is just dedicated to thinking about that with you, so we can make sure you have what you need to know. We also offer parent support breakfasts just to connect with other families who are going through this together. Sometimes it's big topics like thinking about independent living. Sometimes it's, does anyone have a summer camp that they really like? But you guys are often your best resources for each other. So we provide opportunities to connect you with that. And then 11th and 12th grade year, we're starting to think about one-to-one planning. So if your child's going to transitions or moving on, our social worker will develop a personal plan for you that makes sense for your next steps. In terms of what the next steps are, after 18, many of our students go on to our transition program, which furthers the vocational work as well as provides continued related services in academics. After skills or after transitions or after the 12th grade, there's no one Cooke kid, so there's no one transition plan. They are all different and individualized and really meaningful for each child. Some of our students go right into supported employment programs like Job Path, if you're familiar with them. Some into traditional day habs or day hab without wall programs. Some of these programs right now are offered on community college campuses through the Melissa Riggio program, a very popular program where students are taking college classes but assigned a mentor, and the professors of the classes get some background information on what type of disabilities in the class and provide different supports. Some go on to more traditional vocational programs through Access VR or private college or college-like experience programs, or just piecing together other programming and scheduling throughout the week, taking a class, but also working. Again, there's no one plan, but all of our kids do leave with something that feels right just for them. all of this to say, I've been talking a lot about transition planning, but even in grade 9, parents are really central to our partnership here. You know your kid best, and we want to build on that knowledge and work together to make sure their high school experience is all that it can be. So we have an active parent school association, the parent workshops and groups I was mentioning. Special events are central to our community. Movie nights are very popular for Friday night, showing it on the big screen. Great time to get together with other families. I mentioned the CSE support, so we will be your advocate and in your corner and at that meeting with you. We also have a portfolio access program called Seesaw, if you're familiar with it. So teachers and related service providers will post almost daily, multiple times a week, photos or work samples or videos of what's happening in the class so that you can know what's happening, stay on top of progress. And also, I don't think any 15-year-old ever got home from school and actually told their parent what happened at school today. So we can help you with that and provide that type of language communication support. And then, of course, there's weekly newsletters that we hope you read because we share resources and events throughout the city. We're Cooke. I shared a lot of information. I know it's a lot to take in. This is our graduating class last year in our new gymnasium. It was a special event. We were so happy we were able to have it in person. So I hope that this gave you a little bit of an overview of our program. You are invited to take a tour and come see it all come to life in our building on Madison Avenue. And I hope to meet you there. Take care, everybody.